About 8 years ago, before I had a business, I was working over at one of the big studios in town, and I was working for a woman who was a producer on the Cosby Show. Now, this woman, who had made a career for herself, was a known feminist, a known liberal, and an Oscar winner. And I'm not going to say her name, but I worked for this woman, and she was very difficult to work with nonetheless. She was just one of those bosses. So be it. That's Hollywood. But one day, one of the nicer things this woman ever did for us was take us all out to a sushi lunch in Studio City. And we're all sitting there, and we're eating, and we're having a good time, and we're just kind of swapping crazy stories. And then she drops the craziest story of all. Now, mind you, this is before Hannibal Buress. This is before any of the accusations against Bill Cosby. And we're all sitting there. And she says, I shouldn't share this story. We have no idea this is even about Cosby, mind you. And we're like, no, share it. If it's something you shouldn't share, it's already juicy. And she goes, all right, fine. She goes, but it's horrible. We're like, okay. She said, Bill Cosby used to force the production assistants to give him blowjobs on the set of The Cosby Show. Now, she said this so matter of fact, you could have subbed out the word blowjob for dry cleaning. It was almost as if she said, Bill Cosby used to force the PAs to pick up his dry cleaning. It was so nonchalant and disturbing that nobody even reacted at this lunch. We all kind of just absorbed it, and the lunch moved on. And then the Hannibal Buress thing breaks. I want to say that was 18 months to 2 years later, and I'm approximating here. So mind you, this woman tells us this, and this woman goes on to produce some very notable sitcoms. And at the point that I'm working with her, she's producing a very acclaimed program. And if I give you any more information than that, it'll be very easy to figure out. And she makes this comment. Now, in all the years since then, this woman has never come forward. Again, she's a liberal. She's a big Democratic donor. I know this for a fact. And she turned a blind eye to everything Bill Cosby did. Now, here we are today. Bill Cosby's out of prison after 2 years. His television wife comes out in defense of him on Twitter, Felicia Rashad, and everyone goes nuts. And you have a lot of speculation from folks that this couldn't possibly be true. Well, let me tell you, I have no doubt in my mind what this woman said was true. She would not make this up over a lunch, nor would she indict herself in such a way, other than the fact that in Hollywood, everybody's a hypocrite. So, you know, the notion that she would say it, knowing that it would really reflect poorly upon her, didn't even sink in because, hey, she was still that very difficult boss to work with when we got back to the office, you know? So you had about a 45-minute to an hour window where she was cool, but it was never discussed again. And, you know, the only reason I'm bringing this up now is because I'm so frustrated watching this, quite frankly, watching this take over the news cycle when all these poor individuals in Surfside are suffering, and now Bill Cosby's a free man. It's ridiculous. Listen, the bottom line is this. If somebody tells me, who was a producer on The Cosby Show, that Bill Cosby used to rape the production assistants, let's just be real, then what he was accused of, what he was convicted of, does not ring untrue to me. I understand what just happened today, and a lot of folks don't like it. And Bill Cosby will spin it to make himself look innocent. That is not what happened. It's the only reason I'm bringing up the story today, because it's frustrating to watch the power structures constantly give out in places where the common man would be crushed. If this were you or I, this wouldn't happen. But you're talking about a man that was so wealthy in his heyday, he almost bought NBC. He was their biggest star. He almost bought the network. Okay? So there it is. And I'm pretty sure Felicia Rashad knew what was going on back then.